Welcome to the Your Limitless Leadership podcast with Jenny and Brent Widman. Here, we believe leadership isn't just about titles. It's about how you show up in every aspect of life. Whether you're leading a business, building a legacy as an entrepreneur, guiding your family, or striving to lead yourself first, this podcast is for you. Join us as we dive into real conversations about growth, decision-making, and the courage it takes to lead with purpose. Get ready to be inspired, challenged, and equipped to become the limitless leader you are meant to be. This is Your Limitless Leadership podcast. Let's lead without limits. Welcome to Your Limitless Leadership podcast. Here we go again on the topic of leadership. And this one kind of hit us because randomly Jenny and I were talking about this the other day, and it's something that I know I have struggled with, and I know she's struggled with in the past. Difference is she's really good at what she does, and I tend to hold on to it at times and wonder if I'm as good of a leader as I should be. And it's the concept of when you get to the top, it gets pretty lonely. And just to open this up with the people that we coach, and obviously Jenny doing for almost both of us at least right around 15 years and being leaders longer than that, we know that this is a topic close to our hearts because it's one of those things that people simply struggle with. Who do you go to? What do you do? And let me introduce Jenny. If you have not heard this, she is my wife. She is co-founder, co-president, co-CEO, all of the great everythings here at Your Limitless. One of the best leaders I have ever met. One of the obviously best people I've ever met, or I wouldn't have married her, I guess. Let's call it what it is. Why do you, and just to open this up a little bit, there's nobody warns you that the better you get at the job, the fewer people you actually can talk to, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. So just to open this up a little bit, have you ever been, one question, why does leadership get lonelier the higher you go? So I do want to know that from you. Well, I want to know if you've ever been through this as well. Like, have you ever felt, oh, who do I go to? Where do I go? And why does that happen? I guess are the two questions in there. If you want to speak to that a little bit.
So many different types of questions there,
I
Brent.
know.
I will say different levels of leadership requires you to feel a certain type of way in terms of who you can up to and who you can trust. So when you first get into leadership, when you first, those first couple layers of leadership, we are told, and I would say you need to vent up. We call it puking. You need to puke up. And that's a good thing, like the agents underneath you, the salespeople underneath you should never hear you doubt yourself or hear weak language or hear you feel not very confident on something. If anything, you need to be their rock. So anytime that you feel like you can puke up because you like the leaders above you, you need to. We don't want to vent or puke sideways because then it becomes just this toxic environment where negativity happens. You want to make sure you are puking to someone that has been through what you are going through and has made it out on top. And the reason why is because they've done it. They know what it's like to go through what you're going through. The people at your same level don't. They have not earned their rights to give you coaching on it. So if anything, you need to puke to the people that have been through what you've been through and made it out on top. As far as when you do puke down, or if you puke down, that's the minute that they're going to start seeing you as a friend or as an equal.
Hmm.
You need to make sure that you are being seen as someone that they can count on. Oftentimes I love my little duck analogy, but you do need to act like a duck in leadership, in any form of leadership, whether you're the top of the top or any level. The duck, when you look out into a pond or a lake and you see a duck, they look so cool, calm, and collect on the surface, but if you look underneath the water, all you are seeing are their legs flapping every which way and chaotic. Like they are just trying to maintain this chaos. And you're the duck. You are the duck in your leadership group. And you need to make sure that you are cool, calm, and collect on the outside. You can be going crazy on the inside, not knowing what the hell you're doing, faking it till you make it, whatever the case is. And we've all been there. However, your people need to see you cool, calm, and collect. And that's the duck.
Okay, so you touched on something where you said if you go down, now they're almost your friend, they're your peer, you're part of them, right? But one of the things we're taught as leaders, or when we become leaders, or it's almost like this unwritten rule for some reason that you can't be completely honest. You can't tell them everything. You can't let them know all the stuff that's going on. So why do you think it is that that is a lesson, and why can't you be completely honest with your team? Why is that?
I wouldn't say not be
Okay.
completely honest. However, it's how you spin things and it's what you're saying to them. And it's taking the optimistic approach and knowing that you can get through whatever turmoil or fires that you are going through. I would never say to lie to your people, but it's like a white lie at sometimes. Like I'm not going to tell my 5-year-old that Santa doesn't come down the chimney right now. I'm not going to do it. And so
Oh,
it's that factor that like I you can spin things in ways that are going to benefit them to not buy into excuses or buy into the market sucks or these leads suck or my territory sucks or whatever they're complaining about. It's like we need to make sure that we are that strong, confident person that they know they can go to and that you will tell them it's going to be okay.
I have always lived in the world that I would rather be transparent with somebody and tell them the truth and what's going on rather than trying to hide it from somebody.
Hmm.
I just, I, and maybe this is just me, I don't like the corporate answers. I don't like the we'll check into that. We'll put a pin in it, all those different things, or just the when people aren't telling the truth on things that are going on, you can see it. I mean, I go back to where we're at before. There was one person that sticks out in my mind that I won't say his name or anything like that, but he was very corporate oriented, and it just you could see right through it. So you just kind of worked around it and ask other leaders, and there was a level of respect that wasn't there. And when you're transparent, there's a level of respect and trust that comes with that, and people see it, people know it. And I would rather have that. Now I get it, right? Is do they need to know everything? Maybe not. They might not care. But if you don't tell them everything and they see right through it or hear about it, then they're going to care. Let them dictate it because they're adults. We're not hiring kids here, right? Like they are adults. They understand what's going on. I get if they're brand new and they're 20 years old, that's a whole different ballgame. But if they're salespeople like we're talking about and they're 30, whatever, I don't want to put an age on it, but they understand how business works. They've been around, they've gone, all the different things that go with it. You know what I'm saying here, I guess, put it that way. But I think there's a trust that comes with the level of transparency.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say for being transparent and being honest 100%. However, when you're being honest and you're transparent, are you then going, but and then saying something that's negative or complaining just like they are, or telling them that they haven't talked to their leader in forever, so it just sucks. And like there's a difference between complaining, negativity, pessimism, and being transparent, honest, and vocal. Like there is a big difference here, and so I want to make that point very clear.
100%.
As a leader, it's how you're showing up to your team that they're going to start respecting you and want to be like you. Or what would Jenny do? Or they'll be like, oh, they don't have it all together. Oh, they do complain a lot. Oh, they are super negative. And then they'll start wanting to go around you, and that's what you don't want. So, as you move up in leadership, it does get lonelier because there's not that many people above you that you can puke to. And that's when you need to seek either mentorship or advice so that you're not lonely.
Well, and also that's why we're kind of having this conversation is coaching, right? When you have a group, which is what we have, a group of like-minded people that you can bounce ideas off of that become your peers, that understand what you're going through, what you need help with, how to ask the right questions, how to guide you, all those different things. That's just part of it, because you look at it and you go, okay, if I'm a leader, and this is kind of what brought on the conversation. If I'm a leader and I need to puke up in Jenny's terms, well, now is that leader above me thinking that I'm complaining or I'm struggling? And that's hard. That almost shuts me down. So do I want to go to that person? I should, but do I want to? Do I have the what's the word I'm looking for? The ability, the free reign, the comfortableness with this person or people that I can trust, that I can go to them without it coming back to me. And then if I go to my peers, sometimes those peers aren't on the same level as me, or they're almost my competition. So can I go to them? Because maybe they're looking for the same thing I'm looking for and want the same career aspirations that I'm looking for. So if I seem weak to them, well, then I'm going to struggle there too. Or that, just talking about the objections I give myself in my mind, right? And then if I go down, well, we all know that we're not supposed to go down, because then we're talking to people below us, if you will, and we don't want to come off as what Jenny just talked about, complaining or struggling or whatever. How do we fight that? Like, what's your best? I'm asking you here, what is your best advice? And I know I'm putting you on the spot here. What is your best advice on each one of those things to help somebody like me that I struggle with at times going to those people? Because those are the things that get between the ears. What do I do?
I mean, when you're at the top of the top, the isolation that happens is a real thing, because when you don't have people to confide in or talk to, you start overthinking. That's number one.
There it
Your
is.
your standards could lower because you just don't know, you don't know where to go from there. And oftentimes you need to be checked. And even if you do have one, let's say one level of leadership above you, they already think you probably are doing such a good job because you're that high up anyway. So they don't have oftentimes enough confidence to go to you and check you, because they're like, wow, this guy's accomplished way more than I ever did, or
Mhm.
anything that I can think of. He's smooth sailing, he's good. At the end of the day, that guy though is not hitting his full potential. And I cannot stand the word potential because it means unused energy to me. And it's like, there are people out there that are number one in their entire company as a leader, and they have so much more in them. They are a massive fish in a small pond. And if they just opened it up and they looked at the industry as a whole and not just their company, they are actually a small fish in a massive pond, and they have so much more in them. So that is that is the perfect candidate to seek outside advice for people. And I'll say it, coaches that do coach people in your industry that are better than you. And so, I mean, it's that end of the day, there we can all be getting better day by day. When we wake up in the morning, we can be improving in our skills no matter how much you feel like you've mastered what you're doing. And when you are at that level of leadership that there's not too many tiers above you, if any, that is the perfect time to get mentorship, to get coaching, to get someone that is in your corner so that you can talk about things, so that you can make sure that you're seeing things clearly. Because at the end of the day, you get so much coming at you when you can take a step back in your week and have an hour to just focus on you, talk things out loud, look at different perspectives, see what's out there. You will be amazed at what you can accomplish.
Well, you think about, in a nutshell, what does isolation really look like when it comes to leadership? And what you just talked about helps overcome that. So you're thinking overthinking, avoiding conversations, second guessing, becoming reactive, lowering your standards, like you just talked about, because I know what I'm doing here, so I'm going to keep doing it. But a lot of the times we think, well, how do I solve this? And what you just talked about, having that person, that coaching, all those things, what doesn't solve it is working harder. Well, I'm just going to grind. I'm going to come in earlier. I'm going to stay later. I'm going to show people that I work harder. I'm going to read more books than everybody else. I'm just going to keep everything inside. I'll figure it out. I don't want to ask people. I don't want to burden people. I don't want to. How many leaders do you think? I mean, we talk about this probably on a daily basis with the people we're with, which is why this conversation is so close to our heart, that they struggle. We struggle with that isolation. And think about how many leaders think, am I the only one struggling with this? They think they're alone because we're on this island by ourselves. I'm not in Jenny's head, so I don't know what she's thinking. I'm not in Jess's head. I'm not in Nick's head or Jeremy's head or whoever else, right? People that we coach, James's head, that we don't know what they're thinking until we ask them and help them. So why do successful leaders think they should be able to figure everything out themselves? Like, why do you think that is?
Ego. Ego.
That was quick.
Uh, I mean, there's many different reasons, and I've being in this industry for so long, and a lot of the time in this industry, I've been in the financial services and insurance world. And the biggest difference that I'd see is there are people that look at and approach matters as, how can I be better? How can I look at this differently? How can I be better for my team? And there are some leaders that say, I don't, I, what can you teach me? I don't need you. I'm good. I'm doing well. I'm making enough money. I'm comfortable. Um, and they don't have that added umph that they feel like they can do it on their own. And it's okay. And if you feel that way, that's fine. Those people are definitely out there and they're doing a really good job. They are. They're doing a good job. And coaching probably wouldn't be a fit for them anyway. So it is what it is. But the people that I have seen in the past that they're resistant to it is the fact that ego sets in, or they feel like their way's better than other people's ways, and it's worked. So why do you think? What's your answer?
If you're listening to this and you're thinking, that's me, you're not alone. Let's call it what it is. You've got the drive, you've got the experience, like you have it. You have it. You know what you're doing. but something still feels off at times, or things could be better. We know that they can be. You know, there's more. What we do is we help committed leaders go from guessing and grinding to really leading with clarity and structure and confidence. We're offering complimentary DNA strategy calls. We're going to evaluate how you're leading, where performance might be breaking down. It happens. And what really needs to tighten up within your business, within your leadership, within those people around you. Then we're going to take this next step. And what we're going to do is build accountability, the skills, and the systems to create that consistent or those consistent results around it. If you're open to digging in a little bit, the link is below in the show notes. Just book your DNAcall.com and we will find time for you and we will dig in with you. All right, let's get back to it. I'm just listening to you and I'm hearing ego. And then to answer your question, why the question you kind of said is coaching probably wouldn't work for them anyway. And ego to me isn't I'm the best, I have it all figured out. If I look in the mirror here for a second, when I lived in this world, ego to me was I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to act like I don't know something. I don't want to be that person that raises their hand in a meeting and maybe I should have known something already because other people know it. So I'm inferior to other people. That's the ego I look at it as. Not it's just too different. The things that'll hold you back is not asking for help, not being vulnerable, all these. I mean, I think back whenever I do interviews, people will ask me, what does it take to be successful? And I tell them and they ask what's going to hold me back. And I tell them ego and all the things that we're talking about here. And then what you just talked about, that they're probably not coachable anyway. What that means to me is they're not willing to take advice from people that probably know what they're talking about or that will ask them questions. People that will dig in with them, not necessarily call them out at times, but will open up those types that'll have them look at themselves more than they probably ever look at themselves. They got to be willing to change. And that's probably the biggest one is many of us get, like you said, so far down the path that it's worked for us. So why would I change it now? And it's hard to see from the outside in when you're just doing the same things every day. So if you're offered coaching or you're looking at a coach and you're just thinking, I don't need that. I'm good. It's that aspect of potential. You're not hitting your potential because there's more there that you can think, do, be, have, all these different things. Yet because we've done it the same way, we have these blinders on. You don't know what you don't know until you allow people to help you out.
Mhm.
Even just a simple conversation will open you up. I mean, I just talked to a guy, I'll get to you here in a sorry, guy the other day, and literally it came down to he just got into coaching. He's from Raymond James. And he's overwhelmed and bored. He's a leader. He's overwhelmed and bored. He does the same thing day in and day out. He's hit all his money goals, his vision, his goals. So he's kind of bored sitting there, but yet he has so much coming at him as a leader that he's bored and he doesn't know how to handle it from everything around him and all these people that he's trying to and running his own business and all these things. And it's like that after our conversation, you could hear him put his head in his hands and just go, wow, I never thought of it that way.
Mhm.
You know? And that's what hits me at times. And the ego of something being presented to him, just have the conversation. He could have said no. And how many of you out there listening to this right now have said no or have put it off and you're still in the same position? And that's what we're talking about, potential. He could have stayed in the same position day in and day out and he'd be fine. He'd be good. But he'd always be good, but he wouldn't know any different. And now he knows different. he knows what's out there and what he can do. I can keep rambling, but it's close to my heart because I have been there and it sucks. Let's call it what it is, to use Jenny's word.
Well, as you're talking, another layer of the ego is ignorance.
Mm,
And
well,
it's uh, ignorance with judgment, I would say, because being in the field that we're in, we see a lot of coaches. And
mm,
I'm not knocking our industry, but I am knocking our industry because I get to know it, some of the people, and it's like they are now just coaches because who knows, right? Like what their background is, what they've done. And some, I would say, be careful on who you get as a coach. Like you cannot label every single coach as a bad coach or as just a life coach, because there are some legit coaches out there that are absolutely amazing. And some people that I come into, their first thought is, oh, they're just another coaching program. Oh, it's just another people coming to come talk to me. And then if they were just open minded to understand what our background is, they wouldn't feel that way. And they are ignorant and just don't want to open up because they've been jaded by that in the first place. So, what I would say is that factor of like judgment and ignorance do have to go away to really open up to find a good fit for an individual. Because I can see why people are jaded when it comes to this topic. I can see why people think, oh, I don't need a life coach. I get it. And so I would say that there is a level of this that you do have to open up to know that there is a mentor out there for you.
that's not easy either. Like it's I look at it when you find the person. It's just like a leader, right? So you take coach and leader, mentor, what have you. Mentor definition, there's somebody you can go to when you need something. You can ask them questions, maybe go have lunch, coffee, what have you, that you just want to talk. Coach, somebody who's going to ask you the questions, somebody who's going to hold you accountable, somebody who's going to dig in with you, somebody's going to call you out, somebody that's willing to work on all the things with you. A leader, a leader is in the business that you are in. They know the things that you know. They're just, if they're above you, they're better at it. Some things, not all the things, or they've been there longer, they've been through the fire, what have you. That's kind of how I look at it. So you need each one of those aspects to help. If you really want to get to where you want to go, you need those different aspects in your life and in your business. You just do. That is part of it. There's people that'll say, well, I have 5 yeah, I understand that, but you're actually using them the way that you should be using them and paying for them. Because when you it's funny, when you pay for something, it changes the narrative on it. It's you're now in it. You will show up and you will do the things and you will be there, and your mind will be in it. This is the same thing as leadership. When you have things you want to achieve and things you want to do, instead of saying I'm going to figure it out myself, ask for help. You're not on an island by yourself unless you, I was told this years ago. Years ago. The only way you will be on an island by yourself is if you choose to be on that island by yourself. And how many times that rang true when I thought to myself, should I ask for help? Should I reach out to somebody? And the very next thing that went through my head is, if I want to be on an island by myself, I will be. And that's when the text or the email or what have you goes out, and ask for time of somebody because you need that help. Why is it? Besides ego, Jen, why do you think it's so hard? Really, like, why do you think it's so hard to tell your boss when you're struggling or you need help or just ask for things, I guess? Why is it so hard?
Well, it's not if you respect the
Yeah,
boss.
good answer.
Yeah, it's when you know the leader has your best interest and only wants to help you, it's not hard to go to that leader. If you don't think that that leader will fight for you or do what's right, or um, if you feel like it's not going to go anywhere, it's just going to go on deaf ears, you're going to stop going that leader. And
Yeah,
so, I mean, if you are a leader, I'd ask yourself, do your people come to you with matters that are important and scary for them to come to you to? You know, my past experiences, there were different reasons why I wouldn't go to a leader. There was one time I felt like the leader wouldn't fight for me or do anything with the information that I gathered or that I was having trouble with. So I stopped going to him because I was like, it's not going to go anywhere anyway. It doesn't make any sense. And then there was another leader I didn't trust fully. So why would I go to someone that I don't trust? At the end of the day, you know, I had to elevate over these two leaders into the highest position I could have, and that was the CEO. And at that time, there were times I felt like I could and couldn't. So it was hard. It was hard to justify. But if you are a leader, I would ask yourself honestly, like, are you doing a good enough job for people to come to you for their hardships and what they're going through? Because everyone's struggling. We cannot do this life alone. And so if your people aren't coming to you with big matters, whether they're personal or professional, I'd be questioning myself as a leader, to be honest.
it's funny you bring up the people you just brought up because it's ask yourself if you what kind of leader you are. Now, those are just two examples. Are you the one that when somebody comes to you, you're like, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, I got you. We'll get on, and then it just you go on to the next thing and forget it. Are you the person that says what people want to hear, or you come into one-on-ones or calls or whatever? Like the dude you're talking about always had an agenda, and the agenda ended with him, and that's why there was a lack of trust there. Are you that person? Is everything that you're talking to your team members about or your leaders that you lead, do you have an agenda around it? And if you do, I would encourage you to stop doing that. Your agenda should be them, not you, and how they can get you to where you want to go. And many times we don't understand that we're doing that. And that comes through the same kind of thing we're talking about here is asking them, the people you're leading, for honest feedback. What do you need to get better at? That's vulnerability. That's checking the ego. And that's part of what Jenny talked about as ego, that we get so far in it that we feel like we're good at what we do because we get these titles and years under our belt and all these different things. So we stop looking at ways that we ask our team, do you want to be that person people don't trust? Do you want to be that person that, it's going to stop there anyway? What is the perception of you? And that's what I would ask. And then you have the ability to work on it or to help it or change that perception because you're willing to get out of your comfort zone a little bit and have that hard conversation instead of just saying, this is who I am, this is the way it's going to be, which we've heard far too many times. So it's aspects of that I hope when you listen to this that you go, there are things that I can work on. There are different nuances within what Jenny and Brent are talking about here because most leaders don't have that knowledge problem. They almost have this, like Jenny talked about, ego or isolation problem that we are who we are. That's almost where it stops at times. And we need people that around us to help us understand. And I go back to the coaching thing Jenny talked about. We're affiliated to you. We only care that you get better. Yeah, who does it benefit? It benefits the company, it benefits your team, it benefits your spouse, it benefits your kids, it benefits all the people, but it's you. And we're not afraid to call you out. We're not afraid to ask you the hard questions. We're not afraid to hold you to things you said you're going to, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of what we're talking about here. And the other thing that does is that teaches you leadership just through, I don't know, osmosis or whatever you want to call it. You're just going to learn it by learning it, really is what it is, because you ask somebody for help. It's pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, I wanted to also share one other thing in terms of, I know we're talking about like puking up and venting up. And if you are a leader, are people doing that for you? And then once you get to the very, very, very top, it's like, who do you puke to or who do you talk to? One other aspect of this is, in my opinion, that's important for accountability and for you as a leader is a pacing partner. And what I mean by a pacing partner, it is someone at the same level as you, but it's someone that you respect so much that no matter what you bring to them, no matter what they bring to you, you will always be going to the same, you're on the same path, you're on the same journey, you're on the same, you want to get to the same destination, you want to grow, you really respect each other, love each other, and don't let the other person come to their excuses. And when you can find that pacing partner, it can be in your same company, it could be someone in your industry, maybe not in your same company, but someone that understands what you're going through. That type of leadership for you is important as well. It just, the minute that you allow their excuses to seep in to the relationship is the minute that this is not a good thing to be forming as a leader. So I say that one with a disclaimer here because it is important to 100% have each other's back, know that you're getting through it, but that at a certain level, this person is someone that will always have your best interest in mind.
I love that. I didn't even think about that one, having somebody there that is that pacing partner that can help you out as well. So thank you for listening to this. Obviously this is something that we don't want you to be isolated. We don't want you to be on this island. We don't want you to not be vulnerable and have an ego and all these different things that we have talked about. And it's as simple as asking for help. When you need help, ask for help. It doesn't mean you're doing it all the time, every day, everything that comes up, but it means you're asking. And what happens from there is you start to develop that muscle, just like anything else, that you can handle more things, which actually just keeps raising the bar or the foundation, however you want to look at it. You just continuously get better, 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 better because you're asking those. So if you're listening to this and you've been carrying, I mean, so much of this on yourself, find your people. Jenny and I we don't just speak to this because it's something that we just want to, like she talked about the coaches. We've been there. We lead large teams. We've done the revenue. We do the sales. We have the rejection. All the different things. We're not the people that lost their jobs and became a life coach. And that's part of it is we got to, what I'm asking is there's two leaders that understand the weight of the job that will challenge you and tell you the truth and letting you know you don't have to do this alone. And that is a big part of it. So thank you for being on here. Anything to add there, Mrs. Widman? Awesome. Your Limitless Leadership, the best way to find us. Easiest way is dnacall.com because we want to know what your DNA is and we want to dig in with you. And it might be a fit, it might not be a fit. So that is a big part of this, is just helping you understand where you're at and helping you get to where you want to go. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for joining us on the Your Limitless Leadership podcast with Jenny and Brent Widman. We hope today's conversation inspired you to think differently about leadership, not just in your career, but in every part of your life. Remember, leadership starts with leading yourself first. It's about taking action, making bold decisions, and showing up with purpose. Now, it's time to take what you've heard today and put it into practice. Whether it's in your business, your community, your family, or your own personal growth, start leading without limits. You have the power to become the leader you're meant to be. Until next time, keep pushing your boundaries and leading with purpose.